So my background is that I've only been in the finance industry for a couple of years and I've learned a lot, but I needed some direction and just an external point of view as to how I should form my future career decisions, and just some help and guidance to understand what my true values are so that I can figure out where I fit into that and where my place of work fits into that and where I need to be going. So I found you through the Help to Grow mentoring and the Help to Grow management course that was put on through the Norwich Business School. So we were directed to Enterprise Nation and had to pick from a huge amount of profiles as to which mentor we would like to pick. But I think I picked you because you weren't in my industry, and I could have quite easily picked somebody who was in finance, had a lot of experience in finance, who'd been through it all, been through the same experiences that I have. But I didn't want that. I wanted somebody who could give me a true sounding board as to what I'm doing, isn't internal and hasn't seen it all before, so that they can give me some external points of view and look at it in a different way to how I might look at things. I think initially I didn't really know what I wanted. Initially I came into it quite, I suppose, naive and a bit lost as to what I wanted to do, if I'm being honest. But I think that has changed week by week. And right at the beginning, I didn't know where I wanted to be. I didn't know what I wanted to be doing. I didn't know how I fitted into my career. Whereas actually over the past 10 hours, I suppose, is what we've had together. But over the past 3 months I've developed my decisions and my decision making so that I can see a clear path as to what I want to be doing in the future. I think before I started working with you, I felt quite lost, and that was my main challenge. I felt quite overwhelmed as well, had lots going on and lots of conflicting opinions, lots of conflicting priorities, both within work life, personal life, hobbies, everything. There was a lot going on. And while there still is a lot going on, actually, I feel more able to tackle those and see a clear picture of which things I need to be focusing on and using my time wisely and using my mental capacity wisely so that I don't feel quite so overwhelmed. I think I did have concerns just because it's letting somebody into your life. And I think to get the most out of this experience, you have to open up and you have to be honest with both yourself and the mentor that you're talking to, so that they can give you a true reflection of their thoughts and their feelings about your situation. So, of course, that's going to be daunting, because opening up your life and all of your challenges and your troubles is difficult. And Chris has seen it all now. He's seen everything, all the mess and everything, and I'm looking very well put together and calm. But not every session has been that way. So that's always going to be challenging, and actually putting your thoughts and feelings into a coherent language and actually getting things together so that you can understand them is always going to be difficult. But it's part of the challenge, and I think it's useful to be able to have somebody to talk about it and be understanding and point you in the right direction and ask you difficult questions that actually you might not necessarily want to answer. Yeah, so there was one example where I was trying to figure out what the best thing for me to do was. And one of the sessions, which wasn't always particularly easy, but we were talking about feelings around being selfish and actually our assumptions about being selfish. And is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? And why do we have those feelings around it? And why do I have these feelings around it? Because inherently I'm not selfish, but actually the question that Chris was asking me was about actually if we changed our assumption, what would be the opportunities that come from being selfish, and how can we reframe it so that we can move forwards. So it was difficult, but actually going through that and repeating it over and over again, it actually made it quite clear as to how we look at things and how we assume things versus actually how things are and how different people could perceive them. Yeah, so Chris was very understanding of, I think, my confusion and feeling a bit overwhelmed and not really knowing where I want to be. Because it wasn't always easy to come to sessions prepared with questions and I've got this problem and I want to unpick it. So each session we've had to sort of evolve them and work out what is going on this week or month and really unpick things. And actually each session has evolved, and at the beginning it was more difficult, and towards the end actually we've got a really good flow going. And I work quite visually, and I think Chris does probably as well. So we've done quite a lot on putting things together on graphs and positioning things so we can clearly see where priorities are, where my priorities are in terms of my values and where I want to position things. And that's been quite helpful. And we've done that via Teams, sharing screens and being able to look at things together. I think one of the most valuable lessons is to be confident in myself, that I can do it, that I should believe that I can do it, because that's quite difficult. And it's not in my nature to be big-headed and push myself forwards for things. But I think over the past few months, actually, it's encouraged me to think that I can do things and I'm capable and I'm strong enough to do it. And while I might get overwhelmed sometimes, actually, we come through all of those. And if we just look at them all together, look at them externally, put them all on a page, think about what we've got to do, we can get through it and we can have a clear path going forwards, even if it's not that easy straight away. The experience has been good, both personally and professionally, I think. I've got a clear path going forwards professionally. I know what my values are quite clearly, which has been really helpful, I think. I know what to fight for and I know what's important to me and I know what to stand up for from a personal point of view. And personally, I think if I'm managing my professional career better and I know what I expect there, then my personal life is going to benefit from that as well, because my life is more structured. I know where I'm happy. I know how to make myself happy at work. And that means that I can come home with a clear head and enjoy my time at home. Well, I can absolutely recommend Chris. Polything, I don't know anybody else at Polything, but I can definitely recommend Chris. I feel like we've got to know each other quite well over the past few months. And I feel like you're a friend that I could call up and say, I don't know what I'm doing. And you could give me some reasonable advice. You're very good at not telling me what to do, but asking me important questions so that I can figure out for myself what I should be doing, which has been frustrating at times because, of course, I want answers, but I have to figure that out for myself, which I know. But of course, it's always frustrating when somebody doesn't just tell you what the right thing to do is. But I feel like there's always a good balance there so that I can work it out, but also you'll point me in the right direction as well and give me the tools so that I can work it out for myself as well, which is helpful. I feel like that's been a really useful learning experience as well. So absolutely recommend.